Ah! 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 Hi, folks. It's Elgin Bowling, your creative caricature marketing consultant. And today, this is the first part of a series that I'm doing called The Customer is Always Wrong. Usually. Just did a little caricature drawing of myself to illustrate how I often feel sometimes in dealing with customers, with clients. I got a feeling that sometimes you feel just like the guy in this drawing. You know, there was a policy, and I wrote down notes here, so we're really going to get some good stuff in this series. This is part one. The customer is always right, is one of those sayings that's been around so long that has grown hair on it, right? But I've found that the customer is usually always wrong. Now, if you have the opinion that the customer is difficult, arrogant, stupid, pin-headed, any of those adjectives, and that's why they're usually wrong, then let me tell you right now that you have the wrong attitude. You have the wrong attitude. When I say the customer is always wrong, there's a very good reason for that. And the reason is this, and the sooner you understand this, the more your business will flow, okay? The customer doesn't know your business. They don't know. And because they don't know, the customer is always making assumptions. Incorrect ones, I will admit, but they're making assumptions about how things are supposed to go. They can't help it. So how do we get around these problems? How do we get around difficult customers? That's, what we're going to discuss, in this series here. And like I said, I have notes so I don't mess it up. How to deal with difficult people. We're going to, kind of cover that later on. And let me just say right here and right now, if you are an artist and you think you're just in the art business, you got the wrong idea, buddy or girlie. You got to change your attitude in that, because you're not just an artist. You're not just in the art business. You are in the customer service business. And your success as an artist is going to be in direct correlation to how well you handle your customer service problems. The reality, folks, is that most customers are a challenge to deal with. They are difficult. But if we can land those customers, then the ones who are easier to deal with are going to be that much more easier to deal with. Let me give you an example, of what good customer service does. Read my notes here for a minute. There's a restaurant that my wife, and our church congregation members go to every Sunday in Queens. This is not a fancy restaurant. I mean, they got an A, on their test, so, they keep up standards. But the food there, objectively speaking, isn't all that great. I mean, it's pretty ordinary. It's pretty bland. And to be honest, there are other restaurants in the area that will serve us better tasting food. And yet, we keep going back to that restaurant. Now, why is that? There are a couple of reasons. First of all, no matter how big our party is, whether we have a party of 2 people, me and my wife, or a party of 10 or 20 people, this restaurant always goes out of their way to accommodate us. They seat us fairly quickly. Their waiters are genuinely courteous and attentive. Okay, they anticipate your needs. If your glass needs refilling, before you can even say it, I'm not kidding. They're literally there refilling your glass. They're attentive to you, but not so attentive that they're annoying. And man, they just make you feel at home. Great customer service. Now, what's interesting, about this restaurant is, like I said, their food isn't that great. It isn't. It's like I said, it's pretty ordinary. It's edible, but it's bland. But we keep coming back to that restaurant and we keep recommending our friends to go there because the customer service is just that good. And the great thing about the restaurant is when our friends and our families who we recommend go there, they tell us the exact same thing. Food is kind of ordinary, not outstanding, but the customer service is just that good that we want to go back. So what's the moral of this story? Well, if your customer service is good, if you make people feel valued and wanted and important, they're going to keep coming back to solicit your services. I don't even know if I'm using the word solicit right in that context, but you get my meaning. If you give out good customer service, and we're going to learn about that in subsequent videos. I love that word subsequent. That's why I used it. In subsequent videos, we're going to talk more about that so that you will be getting less of this attitude. Okay? Stay tuned. This is Elgin Subway Surfer Bowling, your creative caricature marketing consultant.